Haribol, Haribol. Welcome to our Caitanya Caritamrta reading, and today is the 3rd of April 2025, so we'll just go straight into our reading. Om Agana Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. And first of all, offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astog Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astog Tarasara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vancha kalpa tarupyascha, kripa sindhavevacha, patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namaha. So on Tuesday, we reached page 7 of the introduction to Caitanya Caritamrta. So I'm just going to continue our reading. I'm actually reading from the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, but it's the same essay in the Caitanya Caritamrta that we're reading, that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he spoke this lecture in 1967. So it was right at the very beginning he was writing this lecture, which is interesting to appreciate. Okay, so we'll begin. We finished with one verse in the introduction. Hiranya mayena patrena satya yas pahitam mukham tattvam pushpam. Tattvam pushan apavrinu satya dhamaya dristaya. O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotees. So Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada is talking about the contamination of the Mayavad view or impersonal view, and countering this and implanting with us very firmly and clearly the personal conception, which is, of course, what Caitanya Caritamrta is only about. The living example, the life force, and how it's enacted in the personal form of the Supreme Lord himself, demonstrating by example how a devotee should live in this world. These are the ecstasies of this Caitanya Caritamrta. The impersonalists do not have the power to go beyond the effulgence of God and arrive at the personality from whom this effulgence is emanating. Without that faith, how can you penetrate the glitter of the Brahmajyoti? At the end of Isopanishad, however, there is a hymn to the personality of Godhead. It is not that the impersonal Brahman is denied. Of course, the Brahman cannot be denied. It is also described, but that Brahman is considered to be the glaring effulgence of the body of Chaitanya. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is the basis of the impersonal Brahman. It is also stated by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita that the impersonal Brahman rests on him. Jai, Dandavat. Hare Krishna, Haribol. Brahmano hi prachishtam, this is Bhagavad Gita 14:27. The Paramatma or Supersoul, which is present within the heart of every living entity and within every atom of the universe, is but the partial representation of Chaitanya, living force. This is what we discussed on the first day, the living force, the energy. Lord Chaitanya is therefore the basis of Brahman, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. So this confused so many personalities. When Ganeshji was writing the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we remember the pastime, and Vyasadeva made a stipulation to Ganesh that he keeps on writing as he was speaking. So, Ganesh was making this statement to Vyasadeva: you have to keep speaking and I'll just keep writing, don't stop. So Vyasadeva, he responded, yes, I will keep speaking as long as you understand everything. And then he reached this verse, the 10th verse of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter. Vedanti tattva vedas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmati paramatmati bhagavan iti shabhyate. And when he came to this verse, Ganeshji couldn't understand how can Krishna be one and three at the same time. So he was struggling to appreciate that. And he broke his pen while he was struggling. Then he breaks off his tusk and he writes with his tusk in the end. So this understanding is not so easy to appreciate, that Bhagavan is locally, as the Brahman effulgence. He's also Paramatma in the heart. He also has his personal self, the Paramatma or Supersoul, which is present within the heart of every living entity and within every atom of the universe, is but the partial representation of Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is therefore the basis of Brahman and the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. As the Supreme, he is full in 6 opulences: wealth, fame, strength, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. In short, we should know that he is Krishna, God, and nothing is equal to or greater than him. There is no superior to be conceived. He is the Supreme Person. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is making this point very, very strongly, not to consider any other conception of the Lord except the personal Bhagavan, not the Brahman, not Paramatma. It was Rupa Goswami, a confidential devotee, taught for more than 10 days continuously by Lord Chaitanya, who wrote, Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Twise Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is more magnanimous than any other avatar, even Krishna himself, because he is bestowing freely what no one else has ever given, pure love of Krishna. Krishna isn't as magnanimous as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna came to taste his Leela. He came to enjoy his pastimes with the gopis. He's Leela Purushottam. He was relishing his Braj mood. It's only Mahaprabhu who advents after Krishna, 5,000 years after Krishna, that gives us entrance into that Braja Prem. Mahaprabhu has come to give Braja Ras. So he's teaching what is that Braja Ras. But Krishna didn't teach that. Krishna just tasted it himself. So we see this phenomena. You see this diagram? It's a very good diagram. I've shown it previously. It's the day and the night of Lord Brahma, 8,640,000,000 years. And we see the red line on it indicates the appearance of Krishna. And immediately after that comes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to explain who was Krishna. So we need to see the context and appreciate the historical appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. We need to see the whole picture very clearly. It is not that Chaitanya teaches a long and elaborate path to God realization. He is completely spiritual, and he begins from the point of surrender to Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ends at the point of surrender to Krishna. Sarvadharma parityaja mamekam saranam braja. This is the final verse, practically, of Bhagavad Gita. It's the threshold of bhakti. But Mahaprabhu begins from that place, carrying us into bhakti. So Mahaprabhu's teachings are so much more intimate, ultimately. They're carrying us so much further than Krishna's teachings. Krishna didn't teach Mahaprabhu taught about Krishna. He does not pursue the paths of Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Hatha Yoga. Mahaprabhu doesn't go through these paths. He just comes straight into the complete, unadulterated truth, but begins at the end of material existence. The end of material existence is liberation. When you fully understand that nothing in this world has any value, and you become liberated from your entanglements and attachments in this material world, and you recognize your identity as a eternal servant of the Lord, exclusively, not as a man or a woman, mother, father, anything, but as a servant of Krishna, constantly. So Mahaprabhu begins from this point. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna began his teachings by distinguishing the soul from matter, and in the 18th chapter concluded at the point where the soul surrenders in devotion. The Mayavadis would have all talk cease there. The Mayavadis don't go beyond that place. But at that point, the real discussion only begins. It is the Vedanta Sutra which begins Ato Brahma Jignasa. Now let us begin to inquire about the Supreme Absolute Truth. This is the path that this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to open up from this point. Rupa Goswami thus praises Chaitanya as the most munificent incarnation of all, for he gives the greatest gift by indicating the highest form of devotional service. There's nothing higher than entering into Brajaras. There can be nothing higher than this. And even beyond just a general Brajaras of Madhurya, but actually to understand the opportunity given by Mahaprabhu to enter into the understanding of Manjari Bhav, Radha Dasyam. This is the highest conception conceivable. There isn't anything higher than this. And Mahaprabhu begins from this point. He takes it right through to that point. In this verse, Anapita Chirim Chirat Kuruna Varitino Kalo, the 4th verse we're going to come to soon. This is beginning. This Swabhakti Shriyam, what Mahaprabhu is giving. For he gives the greatest gift by indicating the highest form of devotional service. In other words, he answers the most important inquiries that anyone can make. There's nothing beyond this Caitanya Caritamrta. Like we said at the beginning, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that all the granthas could be thrown into the sea. And if there was just this Caitanya Caritamrta, nothing would be lost. So how inspiring is this Caitanya Caritamrta for us? It's the very essence of our progress. There are different stages of devotional service and God realization. Strictly speaking, anyone who accepts the existence of God is situated in devotional service. To acknowledge that God is great is something, but not much. All are glorifying the greatness of the Lord in Aishwarya. That means we are all fearful ultimately. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada writes one essay about Vaikuntha, and he talks about everyone having something of an inferiority complex. This is how he describes it. We're all feeling small because God is so great. But that doesn't help give us an intimate relationship with the Lord. That's not going to make intimacy. And devotional service is about intimacy to God. It is about that internal relationship with the Lord. To acknowledge that God is great is something, but not much. Chaitanya, preaching as an acharya, a great teacher, taught that we can enter into a relationship with God and actually become God's friend. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna showed Arjuna his universal form because Arjuna was his very dear friend. Upon seeing Krishna as the Lord of the universes, however, Arjuna actually asked Krishna to forgive the familiarity of his friendship. Chaitanya goes beyond this point. Through Lord Chaitanya, we can become friends with Krishna, and there is no limit to this friendship. We can become friends of Krishna, not in awe or adoration, but in complete freedom. We can even relate to God as his Father. This is not only the philosophy of Caitanya Caritamrta, but of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. There are no other literatures in the world in which God is treated as the son of a devotee. There's no other religion or philosophy that indicates that you can have the Lord as your son, you can have the Lord as your friend, you can have the Lord even as your lover. There's no other religion to that. This Sanatan Dharma, these Vedic teachings are completely unique, the most powerful. Usually God is seen as the Almighty Father who supplies the demands of his sons. The great devotees, however, sometimes treat God as a son in their execution of devotional service. Remember that Prabhupada is speaking to new Westerners here. So he's using the term God all the time because that's the only conception they know. They don't know Krishna yet. He's introducing Krishna. The son demands and the father supplies, and in supplying Krishna, the devotee becomes like a father. Instead of taking from God, we give to God. It was in this relationship that Krishna's mother, Yashoda, told the Lord, "Here, eat this or you'll die. Eat nicely." She's telling Krishna to eat nicely. She's telling the Supreme Personality of Godhead to eat nicely. How familiar is that? How special is that? Can we imagine any other philosophy or religion which will explain like this? Doesn't exist. In this way, Krishna, although the proprietor of everything, depends on the mercy of his devotee. Love reigns supreme. This is a uniquely high level of friendship in which the devotee actually believes himself to be the father of Krishna. This is the uniqueness of devotional service. In any other form of religion or philosophy, they are always asking God for something. It's only the devotee who wants to give something to Krishna in the form of serving Thakurji, in the form of offering him bhoga each day, in the form of cleaning his place, etc., chanting mantras for his pleasure. However, Lord Chaitanya's greatest gift was his teaching that Krishna can actually be treated as one's lover. This is who is Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu has come to give this Braj Ras. He's come to give this Manjari opportunity. No one else has come to do this. In his relationship, the Lord is so much attached that he expresses his inability to reciprocate. Krishna was so obliged to the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, that he felt unable to return their love. I cannot repay your love. Na paryeham niravadya samyujam swasadu kritvam virudisyapiva yamavajan durja keha shrinkala sangvishchaya tadva tadviyata sangvishchaya tadva pratiyata sadhanam. This is the mood of Krishna towards the gopis. Selfless love. Thus, devotional service is performed on this excellent platform. The knowledge of the devotee's relationship to Krishna as lover and beloved was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was never given by any previous incarnation or acharya. I said in the very first day that Raganuga Bhakti was not present until Mahaprabhu advented. And this is confirmation. This mood of selfless, loving relationship with Krishna was not there prior. So we have to understand the history coming through the ages. It's an absolutely unique time and opportunity. It's never been here before. We are so fortunate to have this opportunity, and we mustn't miss it, because the window is open only for a little while, then it'll close again. My Gurudev said 300 or 400 years, then the window will close again. Then our souls will just go into more recycles if we don't grab it now. This devotional service is performed on this excellent platform, and knowledge of the devotee's relationship to Krishna as lover and beloved was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was never given by any previous incarnation or acharya. Thus Rupa Goswami wrote of Chaitanya, devotional service itself is the highest platform, the glorious platform which you have contributed. You are Krishna in a yellow complexion, and you are Satyanandan, the son of Mother Sachi. Those who hear Caitanya Caritamrta will keep you in their hearts. It will be easy to understand Krishna through you. Thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to deliver Krishna. His method of deliverance was not meditation, fruit of activities, or scriptural study, but love. This loving mood. This is what every jiva wants. Even a dog, a cat, a horse, a cow, any creature responds to love. A tree responds to love. All respond to love. That's the universal desire, is love. How to love and how to be loved. So this reciprocal relationship with Krishna is very simple, ultimately, to access when we let our true selves become liberated from this material entanglement by giving up our material attachments to this matter, to this material world. We have often heard the phrase love of Godhead. How far this love of Godhead can actually be developed can be learned from the Vaishnava philosophy. Theoretical knowledge of love of God can be found in many places and in many scriptures, but what that love of Godhead actually is and how it is developed can be found in Vaishnava literatures. It is the unique and highest development of love of God that is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he gives us the holy name. The holy name is empowered, and we simply have to just chant that holy name, and it will take us into this realm automatically. Even in this material world, we can have a little sense of love. How is this possible? It is due to the love which is found in the Godhead. Whatever we find within our experience within this conditioned life is situated in the Supreme Lord, who is the ultimate source of everything. Everything is within the Lord, including this loving desire. In our original relationship with the Supreme Lord, there is real love. And that love is reflected pervertedly through material conditions. This is the perverted reflection, because in this world, I'm always thinking about me and my satisfaction, my happiness, my fruitive results of my effort. We're not focusing selflessly on giving to Krishna. We're thinking more about giving to myself. Sometimes we give to Krishna, so we're thinking we're going to get something for ourselves. It's always the I is predominant. That's the perversion of this material world. Our real love is continuous and unending, but because that love is reflected pervertedly in this material world, it lacks continuity and is inebriating. Inebriating means intoxicating. We become intoxicated by the material glitter, by the material apparent fruits of our wealth, our fame, our knowledge, etc., these material things. Inebriating, intoxicating, Maya. If we want real transcendental love, we have to transfer our love to the supreme lovable object, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. How can we do that from this conditioned state? Without the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's come to give this by the example of his life, his activities, etc. This is what is contained within the body of Caitanya Caritamrta. He's come to give this direction through the example of his life. In material consciousness, we are trying to love that which is not at all lovable. We're trying to love matter. It doesn't reciprocate. Material matter doesn't reciprocate. We give our love to dogs and cats, running the risk that at the time of death we may think of them and consequently take birth in a family of cats or dogs. What's that? Thus love that does not have Krishna, thus love that does not have Krishna as its object leads downward. It is not that Krishna or God is something obscure or something that only a few chosen people can attain. Yad yad svambaro tyajati antikalevaro. That's the verse. Yad yad. That's the verse. Yad yad. It won't be in your verse, but it'll be in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes. Yad yad. That's it. Yes. Whatever one is thinking at the time of death, one will take birth as that. Yad yad. I don't have my Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
8th chapter.
8th chapter.
8th chapter verses.
Thus love that does not have Krishna as its object leads downwards. If we're putting all our effort and energy into something that is material, like my material body, my material reputation, my material acquisitions, it's going to lead downward. But if I put all my energy into glorifying Krishna exclusively, everything is going to become extremely auspicious in my life. It is not that Krishna or God is something obscure or something that only a few chosen people can attain. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informs us that in every country and in every scripture there is some hint of love of Godhead. Unfortunately, no one knows what love of Godhead actually is. Mahaprabhu is giving us this. The Vedic scriptures, however, are different in that they can direct the individual in the proper way to love God. Other scriptures do not give information on how one can love God, nor do they actually define or describe what or who the Godhead actually is. Although they officially promote love of God, they have no idea how to execute it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a practical demonstration of how to love God in a conjugal relationship. Taking the part of Radharani, Chaitanya tries to love Krishna as Radharani loved him. Krishna was always amazed by Radharani's love. How does Radharani give me so much pleasure? Krishna would be amazed at how Radharani can embrace a tamal tree, roll in the dust when she sees a peacock feather. How is Radharani having these immense feelings for me? He doesn't have those same feelings for her as she has for him. He is controlled by her love. It's not that Krishna loves all the gopis. He reciprocates with their love for him. They all love him so much, and he reciprocates with, he's controlled by their love. But Mahaprabhu gives a practical demonstration of how to love God in a conjugal relationship. Taking the part of Radharani, Chaitanya tries to love Krishna as Radharani loved him. Krishna was always amazed by Radharani's love. How does Radharani give me so much pleasure? He would ask. In order to study Radharani, Krishna lived in her role and tried to understand himself. These three desires, this Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima, to understand the greatness of the glories of Radha's love. This Adbhuta Madhurima, this beautiful qualities in him that only Radhika can perceive. And this Sokyam, Kasyam, Mad Anubhavatam, Kitrisha Bhatitopa, that the happiness that she feels by receiving the sweetness of his love. This is what he wants to taste. This is why he's manifested. And this is only explained in Caitanya Caritamrta. This actually is not explained in depth in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat is another scripture about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it has another flavor to it. Chaitanya is Krishna, but he has taken the role and mode of Radharani to show us how to love Krishna. Thus he is addressed, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord who is absorbed in Radharani's thoughts. This brings up the question of who Radharani is and what Radha Krishna is. Actually, Radha Krishna is the exchange of love. This is not ordinary love. Krishna has immense potencies, of which three are principal: internal, external, and marginal. In the internal potency, there are three divisions: Sangvit, Hladini, and Sandini. The Hladini potency is the pleasure potency. All living entities have this pleasure-seeking potency, for all beings are trying to have pleasure. Anand Vyasat, everyone wants pleasure and bliss. This is the very nature of the living entity. Everyone is looking for that pleasure and bliss. At present, we are trying to enjoy our pleasure potency by means of the body in this material condition, by using our material senses. We're not using our spiritual vision and consciousness to embrace the Lord. By bodily contact, we are attempting to derive pleasure from material sense objects. We should not think, however, that Krishna, who is always spiritual, tries to seek pleasure on this material plane like us. Very important, because we hear the pastimes of Ras Lila, and if ever we're thinking these are the pastimes of a mundane mood, then we can never ever enter those pastimes. It's completely on a spiritual platform. Krishna describes the material universe as a non-permanent place full of miseries. Why then would he seek pleasure in the material form? He is the Supersoul, the Supreme Spirit, and his pleasure is beyond the material conception. In order to learn how Krishna's pleasure can be obtained, we must read the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in which Krishna's pleasure potency is displayed in his pastimes with Radharani and the damsels of Braj. Unfortunately, unintelligent people turn at once to the sports of Krishna in the Dashama Skanda, the 10th canto. Krishna's embracing Radharani or his dancing with the cowherd girls in the Rasa dance are generally not understood by ordinary men, because they consider these pastimes in the light of mundane lust. They consider these pastimes through the material lens, because they haven't developed sufficient sukriti, they haven't developed sufficient spiritual vision to appreciate they have nothing whatsoever to do with this material world. They're totally on the spiritual platform. They incorrectly think that Krishna is like themselves and that he embraces the gopis just as an ordinary man embraces a young girl. These are pastimes to attract the jiva. Initially, anugrahaya bhaktana manusyam deha ashrita bhajate tadrishi kritva yashutva tatpravo bhavet. That Krishna performs these pastimes to attract the jiva to these pastimes. Some people thus become interested in Krishna because they think that his religion allows indulgence in sex. And this is completely the opposite. This is not Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna, but prakrita sahajya, materialistic lust. In order to avoid such errors, we should understand that Radha Krishna what Radha Krishna actually is. Radha and Krishna display their pastimes through Krishna's internal energy. The pleasure potency of Krishna's internal energy is a most difficult subject matter, and unless one understands what Krishna is, he cannot understand it. Krishna does not take any pleasure in this material world, but he has a pleasure potency. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, the pleasure potency is within us also, but we are trying to exhibit that pleasure potency in matter. Krishna, however, does not make such a vain attempt. The object of Krishna's pleasure potency is Radharani, and he exhibits his potency or his energy as Radharani, and then engages in loving affairs with her. In other words, Krishna does not take pleasure in this external energy, but exhibits his internal energy, his pleasure potency as Radharani. This is Shakti Tattva. Krishna manifests his Swarup, his energy, in the form of Sri Radhika for his conjugal pastimes. This is why he manifests her, and to show the world. But who else is showing the world except Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? This is the purpose of this essay. Except only Mahaprabhu is showing these teachings. Krishna is tasting the teachings Lord Ram has come to establish Dharma. In a few days, it's Ram Navami on Sunday. And he's come to establish the principles of Maryad, Dharma, which must be there in the world for social conduct to go smoothly in the world. And then Krishna advents to annihilate all the demons on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and to perform his own personal pastimes in Vrindavan. But only Mahaprabhu comes to describe those pastimes, no one else. Thus, Krishna manifests himself as Radharani in order to exhibit his internal pleasure potency. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritiya Hladini Shakti Asmat Ekatmana. Radha and Krishna have become one. Of the many extensions, expansions, and incarnations of the Lord, this pleasure potency is the foremost and chief, just like the desire for pleasure is the foremost consideration within us. We are always seeking pleasure. Pleasure in food, pleasure in sleep, pleasure in relationships. So much desires for various pleasures we are seeking. It is not that Radharani is separate from Krishna. Radharani is also Krishna, for there is no difference between the energetic and the energy. This Shakti, Shaktiman, Matayor. There's no difference between the two. Purna Shakti and Shaktiman. Due Vastu Veda Vai, Shastra Paman. This is the injunction of Shastra. They are non-different. Without energy, there is no meaning to the energetic, and without the energetic, there is no energy. How can you have heat without fire? And how can you have fire without heat? They are integrally one. Similarly, without Radha, there is no meaning to Krishna, and without Krishna, there is no meaning to Radha. Because of this, the Vaishnava philosophy first of all pays obeisances and worships the internal pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. First we worship Radha. First we come to her and understand her. Thus the Lord and his potency are always referred to as Radha Krishna. Similarly, those who worship the name of Narayan first of all utter the name Lakshmi as Lakshmi Narayan. Similarly, those who worship Lord Ram first of all utter the name of Sita, Sita Ram. In any case, Sita Ram, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, the potency always comes first. So the pleasure potency is the principal consideration in us and in Krishna. That potency will manifest through selfless service. Service is the symptom of love. Radha and Krishna are one, and when Krishna desires to enjoy pleasure, he manifests himself as Radharani. The spiritual exchange of love between Radha and Krishna is the actual display of the internal potency of Krishna. Although we speak of when Krishna desires, just when he did desire, we cannot say. That is beginningless. That mood of desire is beginningless. We only speak in this way because in conditioned life, we take it that everything has a beginning, because we are conditioned by time. In the spiritual world, there is no past, present, past or future. There's only the powerful present. However, in the absolute or spiritual life, there is neither beginning nor end. Yet in order to understand that Radha and Krishna are one, and that they also become divided, the question of when automatically comes to mind. When Krishna desired to enjoy his pleasure potency, he manifested himself in the separate form of Radharani, and when he wanted to understand himself through the agency of Radha, he united with Radha, and that unification is called Lord Chaitanya. Very beautiful. Why did Krishna assume the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? It is explained that Krishna desired to know the glory of Radha's love. Why is she so much in love with me? Krishna asked. What is my special qualification that attracts her so? And what is the actual way in which she loves me? It seems strange that Krishna, as the Supreme, should be attracted by anyone's love. We search after the love of a woman or a man because we are imperfect and lack something. There's something lacking within us. So we're seeking that relationship to create the, fill the void that we actually have in us if we're not loving the Lord. The love of a woman, that potency and pleasure, is absent in man, and therefore a man wants a woman. But this is not the case with Krishna, who is full in himself. Krishna is Atmaram Aptakam. He's fully satisfied in himself, yet still he desires to be with Radha because of the immensity of her attraction for him. Thus Krishna expressed surprise. Why am I attracted by Radharani? And when Radharani feels my love, what is it she actually feeling? In order to taste the essence of that loving affair, Krishna appeared, just as the moon appears on the horizon of the sea. Just as the moon was produced by the churning of the sea, by the churning of the spiritual love affairs, the moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. These spiritual loving affairs are being churned, and the moon of Sachinandan Gaurahari appears by the churning of that ocean of love. Indeed, Chaitanya's complexion was golden, just like the moon. The moon, when it's full, is golden. Although this is a figurative language, it conveys the meaning behind the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The full significance of his appearance will be explained in later chapters. The manifestations of the Supreme are also explained in Caitanya Caritamrta. After offering respects to Lord Chaitanya, Krishnadas Kaviraj next offers them to Nityananda. He explains that Nityananda is a manifestation of Sankarshan, who is the origin of the Mahavishnu. Krishna's first manifestation is as Balaram, and then Sankarshan, and after Sankarshan, he is manifest as Pradumna. In this way, so many expansions take place. When Prabhupada is writing this, he's saying manifested. They manifested from Krishna, but actually the energy that produces them is Swarup Shakti. It's all coming from Swarup Shakti, but it's manifesting as if it's the first manifestation from Krishna through the Swarup Shakti. It's only Krishna's energy that produces Nityananda and Balaram. That's how Baladev is manifested, through the Swarup Shakti. Lord Krishna is the origin as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. He is like the original candle from which many thousands and millions of candles are lit. So this lighting of the candles is done by Swarup Shakti. Krishna is not performing any work. Although any number of candles can be lighted, the original candle still retains its identity as the origin. In this way, Krishna expands himself into so many lights, and all these expansions are called Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu is a large light, and we are small lights, and all are expansions of Krishna. So these are Swamsa, it's called. Swa means own. Swamsa, manifestations. When it is necessary to create the material universe, Vishnu expands himself as the Mahavishnu. This Mahavishnu lies down on the causal ocean and breathes all the universes from his nostrils. Thus, from the Mahavishnu and the causal ocean, all the universes spring, and all the universes float in the causal ocean. This is going to be described in the first chapter. Caitanya Caritamrta gives everything from top to bottom, the entire creation, as well as this current of love that Prabhupada has just been describing. In this regard, there is the story of Vamana, who, when he took 3 steps, stuck his foot through the covering of the universe. Water from the causal ocean flowed through the hole which his foot made. It is said that that flow of water became the river Ganges. Therefore the Ganges is accepted as the most sacred water of Vishnu and is worshipped by all Hindus from the Himalayas down to the Bay of Bengal. That Mahavishnu who lies in the causal ocean is actually an expansion of Balaram, Sankarshan, who is Krishna's first expansion through Swarup Shakti, and in the Vrindavan pastimes as the brother of Krishna. In the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The word, well, he's saying here the word Rama refers to Balaram, but we understand that differently. The word Rama means Radha Raman, the enjoyer of Sri Radha. Since Nityananda is an expansion of Balaram, Ram also refers to Lord Nityananda. Thus Hare Krishna, Hare Ram addresses not only Krishna and Ram, but Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda as well. So within this Maha Mantra, all are present. The subject matter of Caitanya Caritamrta primarily deals with what is beyond this material creation. The cosmic material expansion is called Maya because it has no eternal existence. It's temporary. Because it is sometimes manifested and sometimes not manifested. So we have experience of that. We're alive and we die. And then we're born again and we die. We're alive and like that. We have clear example of the temporary nature of this material world right in front of us. The cosmic material expansion is called Maya because it has no eternal existence. Because it is sometimes manifested and sometimes not manifested, it is regarded as illusory. But beyond this temporary manifestation, there is a higher nature, as indicated in Bhagavad Gita. Parastasmat tubhavo nyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nasyasheshu na vinasyati. Yet there is another nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. This is from 8:20 in Bhagavad Gita. The supreme nature is beyond the manifested, vyakta, and unmanifested, avyakta. This supreme nature, which is beyond both creation and annihilation, is the living force which is manifest in the bodies of all living entities. The body itself is composed of inferior nature, matter, but it is the superior nature that is moving the body. That's very beautiful. The symptom of that superior nature is consciousness. Thus, in the spiritual world, where everything is composed of superior nature, everything is conscious. Objects are not conscious. But in the spiritual world, this is not so. There, a table is conscious. The land is conscious. The trees are conscious. Everything is conscious. This land of Vrindavan, for example, is Chintamani. Everything has consciousness. So there's the beautiful pastime when Krishna plants the pearls, and he's explaining to his mother that actually this land is Chintamani. So of course they will grow. So his mother is astonished. And when he plants them and they do grow into creepers with big pearls, his mother is astonished. But this is also mentioned in that time by Krishna himself. This land is Chintamani. Thus, in the spiritual world, where everything is composed of superior nature, everything is conscious. In the material world, inanimate objects are not conscious. But in the spiritual world, this is not so. Everything is conscious. It is not possible to imagine how far this material manifestation extends. In the material world, everything is calculated by imagination or by some imperfect method. But Vedic literature gives information of what lies beyond the material universe. Those who believe in experiential knowledge may doubt the Vedic conclusions, but they cannot even calculate how far this universe is extended, nor can they reach far into the universe itself. It is not possible to obtain information of anything beyond this material nature by experiential means. That which is beyond our power of conception is called achintya, inconceivable. It is useless to argue or speculate about what is inconceivable. If it is truly inconceivable, it is not subject to speculation or experimentation. Our energy is limited and our sense perception is limited. Therefore, we must rely on the Vedic conclusions regarding that subject matter which is inconceivable. Achintya. Chintya means bound by the material mind. It can't go beyond the mind. Achintya is that which is beyond the mind. And we cannot conceive or perceive what is beyond the mind without the connection to someone, some energy which is already beyond the mind. That is the Guru principle. That is Nityananda Rai. That principle must be there to actually understand or to appreciate this achintya nature. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that soul who cannot appreciate the achintya bhav cannot enter into these topics. We appreciate the inconceivable. For they cannot even calculate how far this universe is extended, nor can they reach far into the universe itself. It is not possible to obtain information of anything beyond this material nature by experimental means. That which is beyond our power of conception is called achintya, inconceivable. It is useless to argue or speculate about what is inconceivable. If it is truly inconceivable, it is not subject to speculation or experimentation. Our energy is limited and our sense perception is limited. Therefore, we must rely on the Vedic conclusions regarding the subject matter which is inconceivable. Knowledge of the superior nature must simply be accepted without argument. How is it possible to argue about something to which we have no access? We see so many times, sometimes people are debating and arguing about topics that are inconceivable on Facebook, for example. Was Prabhupada's Swarup this or was Prabhupada's Swarup that? Only a Mahabhagavat knows this answer. No one else knows that answer. So if we're not on that platform, we can just hear what the acharyas are saying and accept their words. But we cannot begin to speculate and create arguments about it, which is inconceivable. Actually, in the Manu Samhita, it's saying one should not argue about those topics which are inconceivable. It says exactly the same as Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is saying here. The method for understanding transcendental subject matter is given by Lord Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells Arjuna at the beginning of the 4th chapter, Imam vivashvate yogam, proktavan aham avyam, vishvan manave praha manur ikshvate bravat. You know your Bhagavad Gita. Very good. I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivishvan, and Vivishvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Likshvaku. So we know Swayambhuva Manu and all the 14 Manus in the day of Lord Brahma, they are all holding the order of mankind through their instructions. This is the method of parampara or disciplic succession. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna imparted knowledge into the heart of Brahma, the first created creature within this universe. Brahma imparted these lessons to his disciple Narad, and Narad imparted that knowledge to his disciple Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva imparted it to Madhvacharya, and from Madhvacharya the knowledge comes down to Madhavendra Puri, to Ishvara Puri, and from him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also, of course, Shukadeva Goswami was instructed, the son of Vyasadeva. But Madhvacharya went to visit Vyasadeva in the Himalayas when he was present on the planet. When Madhvacharya, he's Vayudev, he's Bhimadev, he's Hanuman, all in one form. And he visits Vyasadeva in the high Himalayas. And he gets this knowledge from Vyasadeva. Madhvacharya is the beginning of our line, the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Madhvacharya is also passing the seed, the root of that essence, to Madhavendra Puri and coming to Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri, the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One may ask that if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, then why did he need a spiritual master? Of course, he did not need a spiritual master, but because he was playing the role of Acharya, one who teaches by example, he accepted a spiritual master. Even Krishna himself accepted a spiritual master, Sandipani Muni. For that is the system. In this way, the Lord sets the example for men. How can we possibly receive this current without being connected to the circuit? And the circuit is our Guru Parampara. We must be connected to have that infusion come down. We should not think, however, that the Lord takes a spiritual master because he is in want of knowledge. He is simply stressing the importance of accepting the disciplic succession. The knowledge of that disciplic succession actually comes from the Lord himself. And if the knowledge descends unbroken, it is perfect. Although we may not be in touch with the original personality who first imparted the knowledge, we may receive the same knowledge through this process of transmission. If this knowledge is unbroken, so we see in other religions how they had the initial prophet or the avatar, like Jesus Christ, but then all the way through, it was broken. Where is the unbroken chain back to that one master? It isn't. It's broken all the way through. Whereas in our understanding, Vaishnavism, it's unbroken all the way, like a fruit that is passed down from the top of the tree. It doesn't break when it lands because it's being carefully passed down, hand to hand to hand. So it arrives intact. So the next shishya, next disciple can enjoy it, taste it fully. We may receive the same knowledge through this process of transmission. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that Krishna, the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, transmitted transcendental knowledge into the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaya. This Adikavaya, this original poet, is Lord Brahma. This then is one way knowledge is received. This then is one way knowledge is received through the heart. Thus, there are two processes by which one may receive knowledge. One depends upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated as a supersoul within the heart of all living entities, and the other depends on the Guru or spiritual master, who is an expansion of Krishna. Thus, Krishna transmits information both from within and from without. We simply have to receive it. If knowledge is received in this way, it doesn't matter whether it is inconceivable or not. It doesn't matter if it's inconceivable. If Krishna lives Govardhan Hill, this is inconceivable to our material senses. But we just accept it because this is coming through the transmission of a spiritual master or that spiritual potency. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a great deal of information giving about the Vaikuntha planetary systems, which are beyond the material universe. Similarly, a great deal of inconceivable information is given in Caitanya Caritamrta. Any attempt to arrive at this information through experiential knowledge is not possible. The knowledge simply has to be accepted. According to the Vedic method, Shabda, or transcendental sound, is regarded as evidence, Shabda Brahman. Sound is very important in Vedic understanding, for if it is pure, it is accepted as authoritative. Even in the material world, we accept a great deal of information which is sent thousands of miles by telephone or radio. In this way, we also accept sound as evidence in our daily lives. Although we cannot see the informant, we accept his information as valid on the basis of sound. Sound vibration, then, is very important in the transmission of Vedic knowledge. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj describes that when this sound becomes adulterated, for example, when in the courts of law, dishonesty is there, the judges are not upholding the truth, when untruth is coming out, then it distorts that sound and becomes very bewildering for the living entities. We call it today fake news. When we hear what we thought was authoritative, but actually we find out later it was not authoritative. This is the work of asuras, of demons. This is the demon age of Kali. So they take over the radio waves, etc. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also describes in this same essay that the enemy, when they attack the city to control it, the first place they go to is the radio station and the broadcasting stations to control to give their philosophy, what they want to speak to the people. So sound vibration controls. But when sound vibration is in the hands of the asuras, is what we're witnessing now on the planet, we become very confused and bewildered because we're not getting true information. We're getting it with a twist on, it's distorted by human desires, etc. The Vedas inform us that beyond this cosmic manifestation, there are extensive planets and the spiritual sky. This material manifestation is regarded as only a small portion of the total creation. The material manifestation includes not only this universe, but innumerable others as well. But all the material universes combined comprise only one fraction of the total creation. So these are inconceivable subject matters that are going to be presented. And Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is preparing us for this. The majority of the creation is situated in the spiritual sky. In that sky, innumerable planets float, and these are called Vaikuntha Lokas. In every Vaikuntha Loka, Narayan presides in the form of his four-armed expansion, Sankarshan, Pradumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. So I'll stop here for today, and we'll we'll probably conclude this introduction tomorrow, and then we'll begin in earnest. There's the teachings of Rupa Goswami are going to come before. This is the Chaitanya teachings. So yes, we'll conclude this essay tomorrow. So I read quite quickly, very deep subject matter. If you have this introduction yourself in your Caitanya Caritamrta, you can read it more slowly and unpack it as you go along. So I hope it's been clear what we've been through, that the inconceivable is not to be approached by the boundaries of our own limited consciousness, but to be accepted through the Guru Parampara system, to be connected to the current of transcendence, coming originally from Krishna. Only this way can we understand these topics. No other way. Absolutely no other way. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Go Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Go, Pranandi, Hari Hari Bo, Vanshakapatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvedcha, Patitanam Pavnibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha.
भक्ति